I am Maria Garcia de Fleury. The name Rosalia comes from the union of two Latin flower names, the rose, a symbol of royalty, and the lily, a symbol of purity. Historically, it is known that Rosalia was born in 1130 into one of the most important families of her time, descendants of Charles Magne and from the Norman court of Roger II, where Rosalia lived her childhood and adolescence, becoming one of the queen's lady in waiting. Her birth and her life until she was 40 years old are shrouded in a series of legends, the fruit of popular devotion that arose when Rosalia was still alive and left the world to live the rest of her life in a cave in the mountain called Mount Pellegrino in prayer and adoration of God. The people of Palermo called her Santuzza because she was short. In the different parishes with her name, such as El Atillo, they celebrate her feast on the day of her death on September 4th. In Palermo, they also celebrated between June 11 and 15 because in 1624 the Black Death epidemic broke out, brought to the island by a brig from Tunisia loaded with plague victims. The Bishop of Palermo tried by all means to help and console the people of the island, but everything seemed helpless until Saint Rosalia appeared near the cave of Monte Pellegrino. The first to see her was Girolama Lacatuta, an embroiderer that was sick with a malignant fever, who was in the Grand Hospital of Palermo. She saw her as a nun dressed in white, followed by a trial of lightning. She touched her, and she was miraculously healed. The nun was Santa Rosalia, who asked the woman to go to Monte Pellegrino, where a stone altar dedicated to her had been erected. Girolama did not do so and became ill again. In the end, she went up to the cave on the day of Pentecost with her husband and two friends. There she drank the clear water that flowed from the rock walls of a cave and miraculously recovered. Girolama returned to see the saint who revealed her where her mortal remains were. She immediately notified the bishop, and the remains of the saint were taken, were recovered under a large slab of marble and calcarenite. The bones were very white, embedded in the calcarenite, and gave off an intense smell of flowers. They were taken to the Archbishop Palace for examination. The following year, in February 1625, Saint Rosalia appeared again on Monte Pellegrino to Vincenzo Bonelli, a soap maker from Monte Piedad, when he was about to take his life after seeing his young wife die of the plague. The saint stopped him and told the man that the plague would have ended if her remains had been carried in a solemn procession through Palermo, singing the Te Deum Laudamus. With so many people dying and the impossibility of stopping the plague, on June 9, 1625, the Archbishop of Palermo, together with all the clergy and political figures of the city, took out the saint's relic in procession, and they were carried in procession to the sound from the notes of the Te Deum Laudamus. Immediately, the epidemic stopped and began to heal everybody. For this reason, Santa Rosalia is considered as the one who helps in the plagues. When Baltasar de Leon was imprisoned and became ill, he invoked Santa Rosalia and offered that if he lived, he would return to Venezuela, and in El Atillo he would make a chapel for the devotion of Santa Rosalia. And so he did. Today we celebrate her as a saint to invoke in case of epidemics and diseases before God, because through her story we learn that with God we always win.